Welcome everybody to a new episode of Scream Creeps. Where in this episode, and I know it's been quite a while, but in this episode, we're going to be talking about the movie Terrifier. Um, it came out in 2016, and it's considered an American slasher film. It was written and directed by Damien Leone. I think that's how you say his name, and he pretty much has made just this and the second Terrifier, and then it looks like All Hallows Eve back in
Yep.
2013.
Which,
The the film starred Jenna Cannell, um, Samantha Scafidi or Scafidi. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Probably not.
David Howard Thornton. David Howard Thornton.
Yeah,
And that's who played
that's the
Art
dude
the
that played
Clown.
Art the Clown. Yeah.
And Catherine Corcoran. The plot, it centers on the couple of partygoers, Tara Hayes, who was played by Jenna Cannell, and her sister Victoria, who was played by Samantha Scafidi, who become targets of the serial killer, or Art the Clown, on Halloween night. But like I said, it came back out in October 2016. The budget was $35,000, and you can really tell. But it looks like it actually only came out in the box office maybe in Russia, because that's what it looks like. It says is that it made 76,000 in the box office, and in parentheses it says Russia. So, and it seems like it had a Indiegogo campaign, but it didn't reach its goal. So,
Well, yeah, I don't think that it did much in the theaters for the first time. I know that it came out in theaters for Terrifier 2, though. And it did better.
Yeah. Well, so from that standpoint, we can go ahead and get started on the conversation. But I know going in, I know Josh had told me that this movie he had heard
Gory.
it's very gory.
And
Well,
I was
it starts
actually
off
surprised. Yeah.
well, it starts off with an interview happening where someone's interviewing a severely disfigured woman, and basically just talking about the fact that a massacre had occurred. Well, then right after that, um, the person being interviewed gets off of a phone call, I think, with her husband or boyfriend, and gets basically her eyes gouged out and basically killed by the woman that just interviewed her. And then it goes into a montage, and it was very similar to what I remember from Nightmare on Elm Street, when Freddy Krueger was getting his knives ready for his glove. So, and but on the flip side, it was Art the Clown basically getting ready for his night out on the town. But it was weird how it started out, but I kind of had figured out why it started out that way. Part of the way through. Anyways, to get back to the fact I was saying, it was gory. It was gory, but it wasn't as gory as I thought it was going to be either.
I know, me too. I was thinking the same thing. Like, that was the main comment that I was saying when, what's it called, when I watched it. I was like, okay, I thought it was going to be way gorier than this. And even then, it harkens back. A lot of the scenes that I saw in the movie reminded me a lot of, like, Halloween. Like, mind you, at the beginning, at one point, one of the dude's heads get cut off. Like, pretty much, and mind you, Art the Clown doesn't speak, like, at all in this film. So, it's kind of different and seeing a difference between, like, some of the villains, but, like, I think the only other person that's a bit different is Michael Myers.
Well, Michael Myers never talked either, did he? I don't remember if he ever said anything, and I don't think Jason did either, as if I recall. I think the only one that really ever talked in the scheme of horror movies is probably Freddy.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, I
because I
knew that
mean,
Jason and Michael Myers, yeah, but
and
didn't
then
really speak. But
well, not only that, Leatherface. I don't think I ever heard him say anything either.
he doesn't really speak. He like yells and shit. So far
Yeah.
as I could tell, but that's pretty
So
much the main thing that I ever heard him like do in the
so
movies. But
Art the Clown. Yeah, he was more. He reminded me more of like a mime in
yeah,
this.
that's most of what I liked
um,
about it. Was okay. So it's like set kind of like I think it's in present day or like like around the time I can't remember when they actually said that it was like filmed in, but it had the old like film grain, like the old like 80s and 90s kind of slasher films, and they also like did stuff that kind of reminded me of old horror films because I think in the first Halloween movie they do. I know in like the 2018 version of Halloween, they did like where they cut the dude's head off because I think we talked about it on the podcast too, where they cut a dude's head off and then they had the light in the head showing up, and they did this and that, did that in this movie because pretty much after he like gets his weapons and shit, they start where he's in. They're in a pizza place, I guess. It was after a night of partying for the two lead characters. Well, I was saying like for the two main ones at the beginning, at least.
well, yeah, I'm going to preface this by saying the plot line was not very, from my opinion, was not very good because it literally floated. So it started out, like I said, with the interview with the severely disfigured woman. Then it moved into, like I said, the montage that reminded me of Nightmare on Elm Street, where Art the Clown was putting his makeup on and messing with his weapons. Then it moved into two girls walking down the street, and they go into a pizza place, and then Art the Clown walks in, basically. And
Yeah,
basically is very infatuated with one of the, which I believe it was Tara, if I remember right. And
yeah,
Dawn was the drunk friend that was,
the
messing
blonde.
with him, which
Yeah,
which I am not surprised she's the one that got killed first. But I was actually, based on that whole response, I didn't think he was going to kill Tara, but he did. So my thought, based on the way I saw the severely disfigured woman at the beginning, was that was going to end up being Tara, maybe, but then it ended up being Tara's sister. But anyways,
yeah,
to not spoil it, but anyhow, so it went from that to then him going to the Art the Clown, going to the bathroom, and I guess doing something in there, which you find out he basically shit all over the place.
yeah,
Um, and got kicked out of the restaurant. Well, then I guess he comes back later and kills both of the workers. And what
yeah.
Josh was
Essentially,
talking about was he
essentially,
he
they show that they're supposed to be leaving in the car. The two female leads were, but they said that they were too drunk. Or Tara said that they were too drunk, so then
and
they
they
went
needed to
to
eat
go
something
eat,
first. Yeah,
and then they went at the pizza place, and then Art the Clown was there. And at one point, he gave her like a
yeah, it was
toy
a ring out of like the
ring,
vending machine,
like out of the
like
vending
that you.
machine. And then Dawn took a selfie with him.
Yeah, it was a
So
total bitch. So like I said,
yeah,
I'm not surprised that he did something to her, but
yeah.
Tara really didn't do anything to him. So it
Well, I
was
think
kind of,
that's the main reason why you didn't expect some of the stuff that happened in the movie. So
but I
pretty
mean,
much, yeah,
but at the same time, literally, it was that, and then he was just killing people the rest of the time,
yeah.
and it was
Because as
just
soon as after
killing
he
after
killed,
killing after killing. So it was
yeah,
like there was really no plot to the movie. So I hope the second one, when we watch that one, is all I'm saying is that it explains why he basically kind of why he does what he does, because that's
Okay,
what a lot
well,
of them, that's what a lot of these do. Because, like if you remember Freddy, you found out why Freddy was Freddy. You found
well,
out why
you
Jason was
kind of
Jason.
find out. Okay, I know some of the plot that
What
happens
I'm
in the
just
second film,
well, we'll
but
talk about it then. I just
yeah,
don't. I just what I'm saying is I hope that we find something out, because you didn't
well,
find shit
yeah,
out in
I
this
don't,
one. I mean, it
I don't know
literally
so
was.
much about like everything about it, but like it shows like. Okay, so like I'll explain whenever we go into the ending of it. It kind of leads into the second film from what happens at the end of this movie. So
Well, I mean,
essentially,
basically he killed everybody except for
I
Tara's
think the
sister,
I
who's
think the
Tar.
main thing is like that they try to show that he just killed people just because he wanted to kill people. It seemed like he just woke up and then he was like, "I'm gonna kill people," because, mind you, it's on Halloween too. So like they're seeing a bunch of people dressed up and doing all this stuff, and what's it called? So that's why I'm assuming that it was like late at night on Halloween, like maybe like 2 in the morning for most of this shit to happen.
Well, I understand that. What I'm getting at is like all it was literally he shows up and then he's killing everybody that basically were in the movie. I mean, and when he ended up not killing the sister, she ended up living, but then you find out that she's the one that was interviewed at the beginning. So, which I kind of had a guess that it would be like a flashback kind of thing where they were showing what happened from the interview that they showed at the beginning. But then at the end, when it basically turned into like he's a supernatural fucking clown thing or whatever,
Yeah.
kind of threw it for a wrench too. So that's why
Well,
the
that's what I'm saying.
plot.
It's like the whole thing. Yeah.
I can see why the reviews for this one weren't that good. I've heard the reviews for the second one were way better though. So
Well, I mean, like I heard the deaths are like way more brutal and stuff like that. There's like one I watched on Dead Meat. They were talking about like the best kill of the year or whatever. It won an award for it, and it's like
well,
the first
I
one
can
from
tell
the
you
movie.
that I could tell you the kill in this movie where Dawn's killing when he cuts her
Dude,
in half from the crotch
oh
down
my god, I
was
was talking about
was
like, oh my god, that was like
was
that was the goriest kill out of the whole movie.
yeah.
Just
I
like
mean,
okay, so it's just funny. So like okay, mind you, Tara is like tied to a chair at one point because I think he knocks her out. I think at one point I can't,
well
and then she wakes up and she's tied to a chair.
he put a needle in her neck with something in it, and it
Oh yeah,
basically
that's
made
what
her
it was.
pass
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
pretty much made her knock out. So essentially, they're trying to get away from this dude and gets into this apartment building. I'm guessing is an apartment building where
Well, I don't
they're
know. It was something
bombing
they
it.
were cleaning. They were like
Yeah,
bombing it
it's
for
like a
rats.
huge thing where they were bombing for rats and all this stuff. So they said that they couldn't be really in there, but she was just trying to use the bathroom at one point. So he pretty much follows her in. And then at one point, I think Dawn is in the car, and then he grabs her and brings her into the place. So, and then you find out later what he did was just essentially like had her upside down, tied to chains. After he knocks out Tara, she wakes up, she's sitting in the chair. Then he sits there and he has like all his tools laid out on the table. And then so he tries to get her scared, and then she was like, and then it wasn't working for him. So then he went to Dawn and then took her underwear off and all this shit, and then just started sawing her in half. And they really focused on it for, I think, at least 10 minutes, where they were just showing like him just really sawing her in half the whole time. And mind you, like everything's hanging out. You can tell that it's like a puppet type thing, but like it's still just a gory kill. You see blood squirting everywhere. And I was
Yeah,
like, holy crap.
it was the goriest by far. I mean, but I mean, you know, they had the other one with. I mean, Tara's was not really that gory. She basically got shot a few times. I
Yeah.
mean,
Like,
we've seen
which
that
I
a
thought
lot in
was
movies,
funny.
but
I
the
thought it was kind
crazy.
of
I mean,
funny, though.
the other crazy one was the homeless kind of messed up woman where he scalped her basically and basically chopped her breasts off and then wore them. So then he wanted to look like a woman. That was what I was saying.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just. I mean,
Yeah, it was like some of the kills were just like just to be as crazy as you could. Like when I saw that part, okay, so like at one point, Tara's like running away. I think it was Tara that was running away because she was fighting back to Art the Clown at one point. She escapes, she gets out of the chair. She like runs away, finds this lady that's living in the apartment building that's talking about her kid, and then it's a doll. So she's like full on, like, you could tell, screw loose. And she's like, "Oh, I'm taking care of my baby. I can't have you here." Blah blah blah. Eventually, he sees her, and then she's trying to act like she's going to take care of him. Then, as you said, scalps, takes boobs off, and then you see him like at one point you see them thinking that it's the chick, and then he turns around and then it's like him wearing the boobs, and at one point he's like full on like has his dong out. Like he's full on naked, like underneath the thing, and it's like, what in the fuck am I? Whoa! It just took a turn to like all sorts of weird levels at one point, like taking the damn boobs off and shit, and then he was naked. He was sitting in a on a toilet or some shit.
yeah, and that's what I was saying, that it was just nuts. But anyways, that's basically the plot of Terrifier. I mean, we basically you almost don't even have to watch the movie. I mean, you literally we just kind of almost basically explain the entire movie to you. If you like these type of movies, though, I would watch it. But I mean, it's it wasn't that great of a movie in
Yeah,
terms of.
it was a movie. I mean, like I was saying that I liked it. Like I thought, like I liked it more than I thought I was going to, because I thought I was just going to be like kind of grossed out because like some of these movies. But I mean, also at the same time, I thought that Audition was going to be super gory, and then I was disappointed. So like when I watched this one,
Yeah, and I still read shit
like
on that one that it's one of the best horror movies, and I'm like, what the hell were these people watching?
yeah, it's
Is
like, yeah, I think this is a good jumping off point for the series as a whole. Like, especially he's a good villain just because he's creepy as fuck. Like knowing that
well,
he's
the no,
quiet and he
yeah, the no
stares at you.
talking part, the no
Yeah,
talking part makes it that way.
yeah,
But
and
I
then
just
like,
felt that he acted more like a mime than a clown. Like
yeah,
I think it would have been funny if he talked like using a horn or something. Like where he
yeah,
would like make noises with a horn. I don't know. I just thought it would be different. But with that, I mean, I don't know if I have a lot more for this movie. Um Josh, I mean, I,
yeah. I thought that the
I
gun shooting thing was funny. Like where she's like fighting back and then he just turns around and shoots her. I thought that was
well,
funny as fuck
well, that's what I'm
because
saying. That
of
that
course
part
he
it
was
was
like,
like,
of
okay, I'm
course
just
he'd
gonna
have the
shoot
gun
you.
on him.
Yeah, when you didn't think he would have one. I don't think she thought he would either because she was hitting him like with a either a
Like it
metal
was a pipe or
pipe
something. Yeah,
or a big 2x4 or something. I couldn't really tell, but I know she was knocking the shit out of him.
yeah.
And then he just
So
takes a gun out of his ankle and just pops
yeah,
her with one.
and
That's why
mind
I said her
you,
death was just weird because it was like he did that, then he shot her a few times and ran out of bullets. And then
yeah,
he went to go get more bullets. And
yeah, and then so then while he's doing this, mind you, like when they were waiting, oh, and mind you, why they get into the apartment is because he slashes their tires. So then she calls her sister to come pick her up. So, and then I guess like her sister was studying, blah blah blah. And then she's like, well, I guess it's good for me to be out of the house. So then she runs around the side of the building that's locked and stuff like that, gets in there, and then finds Tara and Dawn split in half and all this shit. So then she's like, I need to get the fuck out of here. So then she finds this bald dude that let them in the building, did like a bunch of shit. Then eventually she gets caught by him, they disfigure him, and then you could tell that. And then at one point, the cops show up, and then I think he shoots himself in the face, right? I think he shoots him in the or like shoots himself in the eye or something like that, and then he dies.
Well, yeah, he shot himself, and but then he was, alive back in the coroner's office. But there is one more death I would want to talk about. I don't think I talked about it. Was the guy that showed up to help the other bug guy
Oh
that
yeah, his
got
buddy.
freaking
Yeah,
that got basically just demolished just for showing up. Man, that would suck. For one, he couldn't even get in, so he almost left. But then he remembered, oh wait, there's a key under the mat, probably. So he, if he wouldn't have remembered that, he would have just left. And but because he actually
yeah, he
went
would have
in,
been fine.
he
Yeah.
got freaking slaughtered. But anyhow, I don't, like I said, I don't have much more to say on this one. We're gonna be more active with this podcast, I think, going forward. We'll be doing Terrifier 2 next, as a follow up to this one, but we need to get more
Yeah, and I forgot what was the other one that we were going to be doing after this?
after
Like after
Terrifier.
Terrifier 2? Yeah.
Uh, Maybe it was Scream 6. I don't remember, but but we could do all types. I mean, I think Megan is out on Peacock. We
Which I
can
watched
watch
that
that
one
one.
already.
We can do Knock at the Cabin. Uh,
Which people have been talking that is kind of predictable, but I mean, it looks good. I mean, M. Night Shyamalan's movies.
but we
But
can
like,
also go
we need to
back to
start
our
talking about old ones too.
well,
Like,
we
we
can go
haven't
back
talked
to
about an
our
old one in
top.
a while.
Well, we can go back to our top scariest movies according to
Yeah,
science at
because
some
I
point
think
too.
that
So,
one would be Poltergeist. We haven't talked about Poltergeist yet.
yep. So, but I do know Terrifier 2 is the next one in the pipeline, so that'll be the next
Yep,
episode.
and then I find out that that's on Prime Video right now, so I'm like, okay, I get to talk about it. I get to watch that one on there. So yeah,
But I hope you guys, like I said, we're not going to do the creepo meter for this one. This was if we did a gory meter, it would be high
it'd be
up
a
on that
10.
scale.
Actually, yeah, like an 8 or a 9 probably, because
Yeah,
it wasn't like super super gory.
it
Because
wasn't even the worst I've ever seen. I
probably
would have to.
most of the gory ones has been Saw for me. Like
Well, I
any
would
of the
have to
Saw
say
films
if I could think back.
and
Let me
Hostel.
see if I could.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, but let me
Hostel's a
see.
very gory one.
No, there was one that was the goriest that I've seen. What was it called? Dead Alive, maybe?
What's
Might be
Dead
what it's called.
Alive?
Um, I think that's the name of it. I'd have to look, but there's a scene in it where the dude takes a freaking lawnmower and just mows through people with it. Shoot. I want to
I
think
think
that's the name
somebody
of the movie.
talked about that in film too, but I don't remember ever watching it.
But that's the goriest that I've ever seen. Yep. It's Dead Alive is the one that I'm thinking of. Think it was also called Brain Dead at one point. Peter Jackson, I think, might have directed it.
Oh, that movie. Okay, yeah.
That was the goriest one I've ever seen because there's just blood galore and stuff happening in that movie that's just nuts. But if you talk about realistic, like Saw and those Hostel are probably, but I've heard there's even worse movies than that
Yeah.
out there.
Well,
But
I mean, there's like that Serbian film, and then
yeah, and
there's,
that's actually on Vudu. You can watch it for free on Vudu right now.
and I'm not fucking trying that
Yeah, I'm
shit.
not. I'm not either. No, I've heard that's
Nah.
pretty bad. But
There's like they say like certain movies that are banned in certain countries. That Serbian film is pretty bad, and then it's like The Poughkeepsie tapes I heard was like pretty brutal. And then there's like other stuff like the Green Inferno, I think it's called. There's like a bunch of different ones where they're just kind of like they've talked about that there's some bad shit that happened even in just filming the movie was bad. So yeah, I try to stay away from those movies.
Yep. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and end this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Check out our other podcasts. We'll be doing another wrestling podcast here soon for WrestleMania. My kid's been a little under the weather, so we haven't gotten to talk about that one yet. But that'll be the next one coming out for our wrestling podcast, and then we'll be doing a true crime podcast again here shortly on the Texas Killing Fields on the Netflix special, but I'm not sure what we'll be doing for our sci-fi one at this point, but I know that's what the pipeline is for all of our other podcasts. But if you guys enjoyed this one and you guys haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, subscribe so you get to listen to all of this stuff, and then check out our YouTube channel for all of our other video content, and then
And
check
it
out
was
Twitch
super.
for our
Sorry.
check out Twitch for our video game streaming. We stream every Friday typically. We'll be doing, I think, probably wrestling this week, but anyways. But what were you gonna say, Josh?
I was gonna say that I think it's Superman 4 that we're doing on Sci-Fi Graveyard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, that we'll be talking about on
The awful one. Yeah.
But for all of us at the Arctic Geek, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Scream Creeps. And check out Terrifier. I think it's free on Vudu still. If you guys haven't seen it.
Tubi, I think, is still free on there too.
But check it out if you guys want to, based on what we talked about, if you guys want to watch it, check it out there.
I would definitely say recommend. So, like, I recommend it, especially if you're a slasher film connoisseur. I feel like it's a necessary viewing for it.
But we'll see you guys in the next episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good night.
Peace.